Hi, welcome to another Figma tutorial. Today we are going to design fitness mobile app inside Figma. Let's first quickly create wireframe inside Mockplus and then move to Figma creating final UI design. So let's get started. Mockplus Cloud is a collaborative design platform primarily used for prototyping, wireframing and design collaboration. It enables designers and teams to create interactive prototypes for web, mobile, and desktop applications without needing to write code. With Mockplus Cloud, user can easily create prototypes, share them with team members or stakeholders for feedback, and iterate on designs collaboratively. Mockplus Cloud offers various features such as drag and drop interface, pre-designed components and templates, real-time collaboration, commenting, version control, and making the design process smoother and efficient. Mockplus Cloud is a comprehensive platform tailored for designer, product managers, and development teams to streamline the entire product design and development process. Mockplus Cloud empowers design teams to collaborate more effectively, iterate rapidly, and deliver high-quality prototypes and designs that meet user needs and business requirements, and seamless integration with the other design tools and make it valuable assets for any design-centric organization. Now let's click on the publish, and inside the publish let's create, and let's call this, select the target, let's click OK and create. Okay, now let's click on the view project. Okay, so now we are inside Mockplus Cloud. Let's click on the detail. Okay, so we have shared our projects, and as we can see we are inside our Mockplus Cloud. On the left side this is the home and navigation. On the center we can comment, review, development and presentation, and the last one is the edit. Also the download and full screen button, so it can turn on full screen on and off. Okay, so now let's click on the share, copy the link. Let's now start in the comment section. Let's create comment. So okay, and okay, so once we get the feedback like change this icon, so let's, okay, so we are inside Mockplus and we have received the feedback. So now it's time to update the icon. Let's search another icon, like let's change this icon. Now again publish. Once the change is updated, so it show the page update available, so we can click on the refresh. Our icon is updated and now it's time to feedback, so reply this, done, and press enter, and let's make this one resolved. For this let's change the status to resolved. Okay, so now this is like a cloud system, stakeholder can communicate and get feedback on the design. Okay, in the review tab, like we can explain each section, for example. Okay, so it's mockup cloud. Okay, so now we are inside Mockplus Cloud, and okay, so this is basically the review tab, and now it's time to discuss about the development tab. Once we select each and any element, so it's show in the right side all the detail about like width, and also we can change it to Android, iOS and Objective-C, Swift code, CSS, and here is also showing the text property like, and also the CSS code, which is really great. Again same thing, we can get the color code and also the pixel border. Now let's click on the share, let's copy the link. First we need to select frame tool from the toolbar, so let's click. Next we need to select presets, so on the right side inside Pwn presets, let's click on the iPhone 14 and 15 Pro. Okay, next we need to rename the layer, so let's call this screen 1. On the right side, again inside the corner radius, let's type 40, and for the smoothing, let's make it 100% smooth. Let's zoom in and place some guides. So first we need to zoom in pressing plus key. Next we need to select rectangle tool by pressing R key and just click inside the artboard. Next we need to lock the aspect ratio and let's make it 20. Align it to the left side and press Shift R on the keyboard and let's drag guide. Okay, now let's duplicate this and align it to the right side. Again, let's drag the guide and place guide here. Now press Shift 2. Okay, so we have created our guide. Now it's time to color our artboard. So let's select the artboard and let's type, zoom in again and press rectangle tool. For the size, let's type 40. Align it to the left. Again, let's grade another guide from the ruler and now let's duplicate it. Drag another guide and place it. So this is our next guide. It's time to add text into our design, so let's press T. Let's zoom in by pressing plus key. Let's type Fitly. So this is the name of our app. Next we need to select text. So if you want how I create this text style, so the link in the description below where I show in the detail how I create this typography system. So now let's select H3 is big, so let's see, I think H5 or H6 will be okay. Yeah, let's stick with the H6. For the bold, let's use maybe medium. Okay, so now it's time to add main heading to our page, so let's duplicate and let's make it H1 bold for right now to see the size. So make your body goals. Let's resize the frame and let's make it H2. Let's make title case, so let's body goals. So this is our main title of the page. Okay, let's select Fitly and press Shift 2 to zoom to selection and double click. Let's add dot. Now let's deselect everything by pressing escape key and again press Shift 2 to zoom to selection. Okay, it's time to create buttons, so let's zoom in by pressing plus key, select type tool and let's type swipe to explore. Okay, next we need to select 16 medium and now let's right click, add auto layout. Okay, so now select F key by selecting frame tool and let's click inside. So Figma by default create 100 by 100 frame. Let's lock it and make it 64 by 64. Let's duplicate this and pressing the right arrow key on the keyboard, switch it to the right side. Okay, now let's select both frame 1 and frame 2. Let's make it fully round by 99. Okay, now let's select the main button frame and let's call it button. Add background fill. Let's add gray for now to see the changes, so let's make it 99% round. Now let's make it black again. Select the button and let's make it 20 for the center spacing gap. For the horizontal gap, sorry, let's make it 20. For the left and right and top and bottom, let's leave 4. Okay, now let's select both frame and inside the stroke let's add this gradient. By the way, if you want to create this gradient, so let's select the rectangle tool and let's apply the gradient, so then we can see the colors. Let's copy this color, so let's make it solid and let's paste the color. Okay, the second color is, let's unlink this and this color code. I'm creating this for your reference, so if you want to create the same gradient, so let's use this. So these basically the color which I have already created the gradient. Add icons, also assign the fill color black, and let's type, drag this arrow, just copy this and let's place inside the frame. Now let's copy again the same arrow and paste inside this frame. Also assign a black color and place arrow here. Now let's go to the first frame and let's duplicate this. Now let's select all the arrows and make it white. Now let's select the first arrow and press 5 on the keyboard to make it transparent. So let's use 25, maybe 20, and let's make it 20. Add some spacing, so let's, no, I think 1 2 1 2. Make this one 100%, the second one 50%, and the third one 10%. Let's modify the right one, remove the stroke, and for the color I think we will use some darker shade. So I think it's looking good. Let's update the icon. So again let's type arrow and let's see if we can find, yeah, so let's use this arrow. Let's cut this and paste to replace. Okay, now let's make it white. It's time to add multicolor gradients to the background, so press the O key and select the ellipse tool. Now let's draw ellipse. Maybe we can run the plugin, so let's go to the plugin panel and let's type blob. Let's create some random shape. Yeah, I think let's insert, delete this one, and okay, let's resize this. Now let's add same gradients which we have created, duplicate this. Let's add maybe this color. Let's see if it's working. Now let's apply layer style. So select all these three and go to effects, add layer blur. Let's try 100. Okay, now let's select all these and group, slightly modify the shape. Right click, send to back, command X, select frame, paste inside frame. Now let's send it to back and now let's slightly modify the button. So for the background color, let's decrease the opacity to 50%. Let's go to effects and background blur. Let's add some background blur, maybe 25%. Let's stick with the overlay, and for this let's make it less darker, maybe something like this. Also reduce the opacity of this one too. Now it's time to add images to the background. So I have already collected few images, so let's copy and paste inside the design. Now let's send it to back and let's resize the picture frame. Let's see one by one which picture is looking good. I think let's stick with this image, slightly modify the color, so slightly decrease exposure. If we increase the exposure, so it's look like this, so let's slightly decrease and add contrast, saturation. Let's see if it's working or not. Maybe cool vibe is looking good. Exposure, so I think, yeah, blue exposure is looking good. So temperature will be on the left side, tint slightly make it warmer. For the highlight, something like this. Okay, now let's select the gradient, rename this, slightly drop the opacity to maybe 80%, so it's more connect with the picture. If we can add some overlay on the top of the image to make it slightly darker, so let's leave 20. It's time to work on the second screen. First select duplicate this command D, and it's already renamed to screen 2, which is good. Now let's delete the picture and select the gradient group, rotate, slightly modify. Okay, so let's start work on screen 2 and let's zoom in. Press R key on the keyboard to select rectangle tool and let's click inside the artboard. Now let's resize this to make it, maybe we can use 64, and for the roundness let's use 16, make it 100% smooth. Okay, now let's click on the assets and type menu. Let's see if we can find some icons. I like this icon, so let's drag this icon. For the background, make it white, unlink, and let's reduce the opacity 25%, make the icon pure white 100%. Okay, now let's select both group and align it 20 from the left side. Let's delete, maybe 60% is fine. Now let's duplicate this, let's delete this one, make it 100%. On the right side, let's add image, so select rectangle tool, inside the plugin type faces and select this plugin. Now select an image. These images are generated by AI, so it's good to use this. Okay, so now let's type again the text. Let's use 16 or maybe 14 normal text and duplicate this. For the size, let's try H3. I think H3 looking good, so let's stick with this. Now let's again select both the caption text and the main title and convert it to auto layout. Remove the spacing. For this space, I think 40 is good, so let's leave it 40. Okay, now let's delete these two. Maybe we need this later, but let's delete, we will use this button. Okay, now it's time to create card, so select again rectangle tool, maybe leave it 100 by 100 for now. For the roundness, make it 16. Corner smoothing, let's make it 100%. Now press O and add ellipse. Maybe we can use 40 by 40. Color, let's make it black for now. Maybe we can leave it 4 by 4. For the text, let's type cardio. Align it to the left side. Maybe use 12. Select both, create component. Let's duplicate this and select the first component, place it here. Now let's duplicate this, select both and convert it to auto layout. First we need to make the spacing 8. Now let's duplicate this. For the first card, let's use, maybe let's use 400, the light color. The second one, now let's make this one white. Now let's change the text. Okay, so it's time to add icon inside card. So I have already downloaded a few icons from Flat Icon. So first we need to select all the icons, and now inside the components, click create component set. Let's rename this. Now press option key and copy the first icon. Now cut this icon, command X, and paste inside the card. Something like this. Now if we come to the design, so it's already placed the icons because these are the sub child of the main component. So now just change the icon. For example, for the cardio, let's leave this icon, and for the yoga icon, yeah, and for the freehand, let's use fitness dumbbell, and for the this one, let's use calories icon, burn fat. I think for the cardio color, let's make it indigo or blue color. Let's make it blue. It's looking perfect. Okay, so now it's time to place the icons for this. Sorry, I mean spacing. So let's define the spacing. 40 is good because 40 is here and 40 is here. Now let's increase the spacing, maybe 12. 12 is looking good. Okay, so now select top gradient and let's duplicate this with the option key. Slightly arrange it, something like this maybe. And let's drop the opacity by 50% for now. It's time to create card. So for the card, let's first type the text. Now press R key and create rectangle, and now press O, create ellipse, make it 24 for now, and let's duplicate this, convert it to auto layout. Select auto layout. Okay, just leave it now. Okay, we need to select all the text and shape and convert it to auto layout. Okay, and now resize the auto layout frame to full width of the screen, something like this. Now we need to add fill color. Let's use this gradient and unlink this. Now let's make it white, maybe use 80. For the roundness, let's make it 40. Sorry, for the corner radius, make it 40, fully round. And for the left and right, let's type 20, and for the top and bottom let's use 40 for now. Now select the inner content and make it dark so that we can see. Okay, now first we need to select the exercise text and convert it to separate auto layout by Shift A. And first let's add stroke with the same gradient and add some spacing. Make it 100% round. I think let's add some fading like 12. Cardio with coach. Let's make it H4. Select 35. H1 bold. For the exercise text, let's try 14 medium. I think it's looking good. Same for this exercise. Now select both text cardio and the 7 exercise, convert it to auto layout. Now bring the rectangle to the top and select both rectangle and text, convert it again to auto layout. Now let's resize, make it 20. Let's make it auto. Fill container and fill container. Let's remove the 20, make it 0. Now select these texts, convert it to auto layout and make it 4. Select both auto layout, make it horizontal. Okay, now select the main card and make the spacing 20. Let's check this is auto and this is auto, which is good. Now select this frame and press enter key to select the instant of the frame. Now let's make it slightly bigger, 32. Select the frame and make it -8. Press return key and now add stroke white. Press Shift R to hide the ruler, and for this one change color to this and right click, make it frame selection. Select text tool and let's type 15 plus 15 semi bold. It's looking good. Let's align it. Okay, now select this rectangle and make it 20 roundness. Select this photo and stroke, add white stroke. Okay, now select circle and click in the plugins UI pages. Select this image. Okay, now select rectangle tool and let's resize it to 393 and 356. Make it 40. Let's make it round, white. Send it to bake. Make it 16. Now let's drop the opacity to 50% or maybe 25%. Yeah, I think 25 looking good. Let's open the color palette and select the eyedropper tool and pick the same color. Now let's duplicate this and again 1 2 3 4 16. Let's drop the opacity to 50%. Okay, so it's time to create footer. So for the footer, let's copy the same button which we have already designed. Let's paste inside. Let's make it dark. We have changed the blending mode, make it normal. Let's delete the text. Let's duplicate this 3 times. I have already copied the icon, so place the icon here. Now let's open the individual padding, and from the left side let's add 40 pixel, 24. So this is our footer. Now it's time to create the third screen, so let's press command D, so it will duplicate the same screen. First we need to zoom in and let's change the icon. Let's use this icon. Now let's make it white. Next we need to update the text, so let's type. We don't need this, so we will delete these. Let's leave this one. Shift R, so it will reveal the guides. And now let's reduce. To 40. Okay, now let's type. Let's center a line. So now press, let's duplicate this. We can reuse this, so let's make it 100 and let's make it square, so 80 by 80. Let's make it 64. Now press O for ellipse and let's make it 40 by 40. For color we will use black. For stroke let's use the gradient, and let's search for the component check. Yeah, we have check, so let's use check. Now press L for the line tool and let's draw a line. Let's group this. Press Shift R to hide the guide, and so the third one we need to create current exercise, so let's make it same gradient. Now let's make it something like this. Let's make it bold so it is fill, and let's make it white. Okay, so now it's time to make it disable look. Let's drop the opacity, maybe make it 8, so we will stick with the 8-point system. Delete the check. Also maybe make it 50% transparent. Here we don't need this button, so let's delete this and let's bring this button. Let's drop the opacity of this bar. Let's delete this one. Let's make this one 40. I think we need to create this more engaging, so let's detach this and dark something like this. Let's try to add stroke. Okay, now so let's select the selected one and let's make it 100%. Let's try this dark. Let's add border. Now let's update the picture. So for the photo, okay, so we have updated our photos and style. This screen is completed. So now let's move to the next screen. So let's duplicate this screen, Command D, and delete these all. Let's copy the image, paste and send it to back. We don't need this here. We don't need this, so let's delete this. Thank you for watching. Hope you like the video, and also let me know in the comment section if there is any question, and see you in the next tutorial.